Welcome to Women in the Arena podcast, the podcast celebrating women doing extraordinary things in plain sight. I'm your host, Audra Egan, and our mission is to elevate the value, strength, and resilience each woman brings to the world. Without further delay, let's go ahead and start the show. Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for joining me again today. This is Women in the Arena podcast, and it is truly a celebration. We are celebrating each and every one of you being extraordinary in plain sight. I have said many times before that this is the most remarkable community, that every single time I send out the call that I need some assistance, you respond without hesitation. Well, I need you again. I've been working on a couple of ideas, but I really need your input because I want to make sure that I'm providing you content that you want to hear. So there's two things that I want to ask of you. The first thing is I'd like to bring back a couple of our previous guests. I have a few people in mind, but I'm torn. I'm not entirely sure. I would love your input as to who you'd like to hear more from. So let me know. That's the first thing. Second thing is that you know that we really like to support female-owned small businesses. Well, you are all over the country. For that matter, you're all over the world. And I'd really like to know, what are your favorite female-owned small businesses? We want to try and help support them any way we can, maybe give them exposure, perhaps have them on the show. We want to help them any way we can. So for these two requests, please send your input to me. And you can reach me a couple of different ways. You can reach me on our various social media platforms, which is Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Or you can just old-fashioned email me at audra@womeninthearena.net. That is AUDRA at womeninthearena.net. I thank you so much for your assistance. And without further ado, let's start the show. Welcome in, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I have a woman that I cannot wait for you all to meet and get to know. I'm joined today with Crystal McLean, and she has a really interesting background, and she's used her background for good. She has a background in banking and finance, so she deals with numbers and money all the time, but she has taken that one step further, and she has decided to educate people about finances and their money and investments and what have you. And this has become a passion for her. She's taken it one step further. She is an author, and she's an author of this Amazon bestseller called Harmoney and the Empty Piggy Bank. I am so excited for you all to meet her. So, Crystal, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the show.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to be on your amazing platform. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm so happy for you to be here because your background and your specialty happens to be finances and money, and that's something that we all deal with, we all know about, and it affects every one of our lives in different ways. And that also happens to be your passion. But before we jump into your passion and get to what your mission is, tell us a little bit about you, a little bit more, so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Of course. Well, again, I am Crystal McLean. I am first a wife, a mommy. So those are where my major hats are worn all the time. I am a youth pastor at my local assembly. So that's very important to me. And youth is a true priority for me because I do recognize they are our future. And so my true mission is making sure to pour into them. I am employed at a national financial bank. So what I do there essentially is I'm the one of the investment bankers there. That assists clients with their portfolio planning and if they need lending, things like that. Just really navigating them through their financial journey. But overall, I am just a woman truly on a mission to make sure the topic of financial literacy is not lost. And so that's just a couple things about me, but I'm your regular round the way girl that truly loves to have fun. But at the end of the day, I truly have a purpose and a mission.
Your mission is really important because whether we like it or not, money makes the world go round. We'd
Yeah,
love to say that it's love, but unfortunately, it's money. And to some of us, money is a very confusing topic, and or it's intimidating, or it's something that we haven't tackled yet. And it's one of those things that, especially now as we're here in the new year, whereas many people start to take stock and say, I want to do things different, or I want to change and I want to make things better. A lot of people are saying, you know what? This year I want to become financially fit, or I want to become financially sound. I want to put X amount of dollars in the bank, or I want to pay down this much debt. Um, and you probably have a lot of clients that come to you that have those types of conversations with you. So a- as you're talking to adults that come to you and say, I have no idea what I'm doing, how do you first guide those adults on that journey?
that's a great question. What I typically first do is I reassure them before I even go into the conversation when we start pulling out numbers and spreadsheets and things like that, or pulling up statements. Before I do that, I always pause to make sure they understand that, listen, you are not the worst case scenario. So, like, because a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm too far gone, there's no way to fix this, things like that. And so I first reassure them that, listen, we can bounce back from this. We just need a strategy and a plan. And so, after kind of figuring out or really reassuring them, it's more so figuring out what are your plans, because everybody's plan is different. And I can't give you a strategy without figuring out what the plan is, as far as, what is your goal? My goal is to pay off debt. Okay, now let's create a strategy around that. Or my goal is to be able to retire at 45. Okay, let's create a strategy and a plan around that. So before you start putting numbers, and there's so many different savvy systems that you can pretty much put the numbers in, and they pretty much plan it for you. But before doing all of that, the biggest thing is determining goals. So I would admonish anyone before they start jumping into creating a plan to really get financially fit in 2021, is figure out what your goals is. What does that really look like? If you say I want to be debt free, by when? What does that mean? Is that 3 years, 5 years? And then what would that cause? What would that take? Would that take you reducing your expenses? Will that take you having to get a better job, or increasing income streams? What would that take? So you really have to take every goal that you have and then put tasks up under. It's just like with anything else. If you say I want to get physically fit, is what is that? Now that's the goal. Now what are those little small tasks that it would take to get to that goal? And so I say the first thing is determining what those goals are, and then figuring out how can I get there. And if you really are super confused about, okay, I got the goal, I know what I want to do, but how do I get there? I don't know the task to get there. You may want to even go to your local bank, because a lot of financial planners are in your local bank that you have access to for free, and they're able to sit down and guide you and navigate you through that process. But those are a couple things already off gate that I would say are necessary when you're starting to talk about getting financially fit for a new year.
So what I'm hearing from you is, number one, no matter how overwhelmed you think you are, or how um, far back from your goal is, not all is lost. So,
No.
and that's what I hear is, which is good news, is that because a lot of us are really overwhelmed and we're like, well, where do we start? Maybe we're too far gone. But what you're saying is no, you are not. And it's never too late to start, is
Mhm.
what I'm hearing from you, is as long as you have a plan. So start from your goal and work your way backwards.
You're
I think that's what I'm hearing from you.
You're exactly right, because some people do get very overwhelmed. They start to maybe compare, or they start to think like, I should have started this years ago. And then with that comes guilt. With that comes, never mind. And so I always like to reassure that, hey, this is possible. It's just going to take some discipline. It's going to take some, rolling up the sleeves and really getting a strategy together to make sure that these plans are implemented, because you can have an amazing plan, but without implementation, it's nothing.
So you're saying, a plan needs to be put in place because a goal without a plan is just a wish, is is what I'm hearing.
That's it.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is that because your passion is financial fitness, and as we had mentioned that, this is overwhelming for adults, and there's a lot of adults, there's a lot of us that learned financial fitness the hard way, and that was by making a whole bunch of mistakes.
Including
Um, and and it was never the easy way. That I can assure you. Speaking for myself, I made plenty of mistakes in my 20s,
me. Hmm.
and because I didn't know.
Hmm.
There isn't a class
Hmm.
that is taught to younger children, or even in high school. There isn't a class, but there should be.
Hmm.
And this directly aligns with your passion, because you said, you know what, I'm dealing with adults all day long that have questions about their finances. They're overwhelmed. They didn't necessarily have a plan. You thought, well, I'm going to take this one step further. And before these adults get to me, I'm going to start teaching them as children. So tell us about that mission of you teaching financial awareness and fitness to children.
Yeah, so I like how you started off by saying, um, pretty much the mistakes that we've by learning by mistakes, because honestly, that's where my journey began. I made so many different mistakes, and that's where my frustration, and I would say it kind of aligned with my purpose, because I realized that, man, if I would have been taught this, if I would have known, if I would have, and we all think about that, if they would have just taught me this, maybe I wouldn't have made that mistake, or maybe I wouldn't have accumulated that amount of debt, or maybe, whatever the case is. And so that frustration, also along the lines of wanting to teach my daughter and not really finding the resources and the tools for her age group, that all combined together caused me to start this mission. That I recognize that children like myself did not grow up with these tools. They didn't grow up with this teaching. It's not in school. It's not curriculum based where it's easily accessible. And so for a parent, as well as from a person that has made many mistakes growing up, I felt that it was necessary. And so that's where my mission is these kids do not have to grow up making the same mistakes we made. We do not have to keep this generational, oh, let's just keep it. No, 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 no. We can stop it now by teaching them tools early. And so that was where the book came into play. And the book is just literally a foundation. It is not the here all end all, because I have so many plans and desires to make sure that children are able to learn about this topic in way many forms, workshops and seminars, and all type of things. But the book was just a foundational tool and an easy way to really introduce the topic of money, at the same time while being fun. So that was where Harmony in the Empty Piggy Bank came from.
So tell us about Harmony and where it came from, because as you're speaking, I mean, we've all heard these cliches, and I know that you've probably heard them too, where people would say, well, make sure you pay yourself first. Well, to a kid, what does that mean? And it's a habit that if it wasn't clarified, it meant nothing. So you took that and said, you know what, I'm going to put it in this character named Harmony. So tell us about Harmony and what her journey has been.
I will. So Harmony, in the book, which actually is inspired by my real daughter named Harmony. But the difference is if you look at the title, her name is spelled Harmoney with the word money in it. So just a play on words there. But
You're
um,
very clever, Crystal. You're very, very clever.
so Harmony is a character where she is a bubbly little girl, but very persistent, and she wants something so bad. She wants it so bad. She sees it in the mall, and she's like, and I'm not gonna tell all the details because I want you guys to get it and read it with your kiddos, but she wants something and she sees it in the mall, and her mom is like, no, you just got your tablet not too long ago, and so no, we're not, mom and dad is not, we're not paying for it. And so she's frustrated, she's agitated, and she starts to think of a plan, and her best friend and her come up with this idea of selling, and I don't want to tell all the good stuff, but selling some items. And because of that, she was able to get the money that she needed. But let me pause. Prior to that, she came up with a plan to first make her money. So she did that by making sure she finished her chores and getting allowance here and there and earning it. And then once she earned the money, she was able to then invest it into her business. And then after getting the supplies and all the things she needed for her business, once the sale happened, she was able to get the return, pay her employee, which was her best friend, put money into her savings account. She was able to buy the product that she really wanted so bad, and then she was able to also put money aside for charity for another child, that for a toy. And so it talks a lot about philanthropy. It talks about budgeting, entrepreneurship, persistence, not giving up, but ultimately about budgeting. How she took first earned the money and then invested the money and then got more money off of that investment and was able to budget it the right way.
What a brilliant idea. You took real life things that kids think about, and of the I want. I
I,
want, my parents say no, well then how do I get? And you break down those very, very complex ideas of entrepreneurship and paying employees and investment and capital and all of that stuff, and you break it down into small little bite-sized consumable pieces for these kids to understand the science of money, so then it doesn't become so scary as they
mhm,
get older.
mhm. And
I
that's
mean that
necessary because I realize that it does become a taboo topic if you don't deal with it early. And so it'll be a hot topic in the house when you start talking about money. If in your life growing up, it was not a topic. And so we, even our household, we make that a topic. When I'm paying bills or daddy's sitting down with me and we're looking at the budget and things like that, we let her see that. When we were looking into different stocks, we took the time to actually research. Okay, what does Disney stock look like? What is Apple? You want an iPhone so bad? What does that look like? Really taking the time to think about all of these things at an early age because they're open to receive it. It's just the fact that a lot of times we don't feel confident enough as parents to have those conversations.
so you're making my mind race because you know to be honest with you, I have no idea where to start in teaching a child, which is why we didn't teach our children when they were younger the details of what you're teaching your daughter. But
Mhm.
my children are now young adults. So how do and now we're smarter, so we try to make them smarter. So how do we take these same basic principles that you have geared towards your younger daughter that we can now change to something that's digestible for our young adult children? We have one that has just graduated college and one that will soon be graduating college within the next 18 months. And I think this is a prime time for us to teach them on the science of money and not to be intimidated by it. So, how do you guide us as parents that didn't have these tools to teach our now young adult children so they can be financially fit earlier than when we became financially fit?
That's a great question. The first thing I would always start with is making sure that you are open and honest. The worst thing you can do is make it seem like you've never made no mistakes when it comes to money. So if you approach it as, you need to do this and you should do this and all of that, a lot of times it will be, if it hasn't been talked about before, it will be kind of out of sight, out of mind. I don't really want to hear that, especially when you're talking about young adults. So I would say first is maybe admitting some of those mistakes and being open. Hey, son, listen. I made some mistakes as it pertains to debt. I got into credit card, and that's when I started my credit card debt journey is in college. And so I made a lot of mistakes around that in my early
Don't
college.
we all? Because right there, the credit card companies are there on campus, and
Yeah,
they're signing you up and giving you a T-shirt or a free meal. And in college, you're like, "Yay! I get clothing and food." I mean, so
exactly.
no one tells you anything.
Exactly. And so that right there, I feel like it's so important. It's just the open conversation. So like even asking like, what do you know about money so far, son or daughter? And see what they know, because they may know well more than you think they do. And so already opening it up, letting them being able to say, okay, well, I know this and I know that. And then you can take it a step further and say, okay, now that you know that, what do you know about credit card debt? What do you know about, and break it down into different segments. And then if you see there are areas where they're flawed, you already know how to approach the conversation. Okay, son, you said that you feel like credit card debt is okay, and that you make your monthly payment. You don't pay off the full balance. That's already a topic you can begin to flow down. So I don't say just jumping into the conversation. Let me talk to you about money. No, start off by one admitting where you were, being truly open and honest, because a lot of the times they're more receptive to receive it, and saying, look, I failed, so I want to make sure you don't make those same mistakes. And then what do you already know? And then now when I realize the gaps, I see that there are gaps there, let me begin to fill those gaps with the knowledge that I know. So those are a couple things. But then again, it's also taking them on a journey with you. When you're paying the bills, you can say, hey, listen, I know you're about to be on your own, so I want to show you some of the things I do. When I go in to pay my bills, I do it like this and that. Or I like to make sure I pull out this amount just for this allowance. I give my own self allowance, things like that. Those are so important because now you're taking them on this journey with you.
What a great idea! We happen to have a college graduate that is working on becoming an adult, and full disclosure, he graduated, went into corporate America, and went, "This is not for me." And now he is in flight school to become a pilot. So
Mm.
we have instructed him, to stay at home because he's working on becoming a pilot, which is very expensive, by the way. Flight school is really expensive.
Mhm.
But he's anxious to move out on his own. And what we've been saying is get yourself set and have some money in the bank before you move out on your own. So what kind of goal can we set for our son? And many other listeners out there have children in the same situation that our son is that, graduated, still trying to get their feet on the ground, but anxious to get out on their own. What is a good goal to set for them as far as, we just say blanket money in the bank? What should we tell them? What should we tell him to say, this is what you should have before you're ready to leave?
You know what I would suggest in this, if he has some type of job already, some type of income already coming in, and he's anxious, like I think I could live on my own at this point. One of the things that I would suggest is maybe take him through a trial run. And so what you could do is you could say, Okay, let's research apartments in the area. Let's research lights and all of that. Let's take the time to look all that out. And we're going to go ahead together as a family. We're going to go ahead and create a budget sheet. This is how much it's going to cost for rent, how much it's going to cost for lights. Remember, you got to drive back and forth to work. This is how much it's going to cost. This is it. So you literally go through all the expenses. Okay, you want to eat out, all of that. You go through all of that. And then you can actually start off on a trial run. So now you guys have figured it out, the budget. Now, let's say that next month you say, okay, you want to move out on your own, you're going to pay rent. We want you to go ahead and pay us rent. Now, pause before I feel the heart beating. But you're essentially going to do is take that money that he's paying you for rent and put it into an account just for him. And so it's giving him the principle of learning, okay, these are real bills with real responsibilities that's going to happen every single month. Okay, mom and dad is not there to make, no, these are real responsibilities. So he is literally giving you, if we calculate a rent at about $700 a month or $1,400, whatever that looks like. Okay, give us that. Set it aside. Put it aside for him. So now you're helping build up that account for when he actually does move out. But even begin saying, okay, do you feel like with what you have coming in, you're able to maintain these type of bills? If not, do you feel like it's a good time? Now he's able to make that decision based off what he saw going out. He probably during that time is like, I don't got no money to go shopping. I don't got no money to go eat. I don't have no money left over for nothing. No, I don't. I'm good. I'm staying at home right now. So I can build this up. And so then also thinking about, okay, now that you realize you didn't have much left over, what about an emergency? What if your car breaks down? We need to make sure you have an emergency fund because you just saw you didn't have much money left over. So let's make sure we put 2,000 to 5,000 in this account where you can have for those emergency time frames. So you want to start preparing his mind, but a lot of times the best way to start is by allowing there to be a real life scenario. And so even if you're literally taking the money he gives you, setting it aside in a savings account or in something, you are preparing him for that money literally going out of sight, out of mind. I can't see it, I can't touch it, I can't breathe on it, nothing.
You're helping with that guidance. You're helping us prepare them because, like I said, there are many new college grads that are sitting there at the edge going, I'm still at home, but I want to be on my own. And I'm giving them a trial run. It's not, and I to tell you the truth, it's not like it was when I graduated college because to live on your own was cheaper then, a whole lot cheaper.
Mm.
And I mean, I graduated college and I didn't go home. I moved out, which many people in my age group did the very same thing because you could.
Mm-hmm.
And we also didn't have, student loan debt as large as it is now. So
Right.
helping to prepare them to get ready to launch so they don't stub their toe financially as much as we did when we were in college. They don't have to overcome those mistakes. So helping to remove the taboo and the fear, like I said, there's fear when there comes to money, which there doesn't have to be, and removing it early but basically having a safety net by them still being at home is
Yes.
what I'm hearing the message is.
That is, and because they have that safety net, you're able, without saying I told you so, you're able to actually give them, that real life experience without them being on their own and then having to come back home. Because now that's a different scenario. That's
Oh yeah.
really sets in where it's like, oh man, I couldn't make it on my own. But really taking the time, okay, son, we know one of your desires is to move out on your own. And we're actually, excited for you wanting to spread your wings. However, we want to make sure you're fully prepared. So what we're going to do for the next 6 months is, one, before we do anything, we're going to prepare your budget. Two, everything that's in your budget, you're going to actually give it over as if we're the landlords and all of that. And if you can't manage it and you can't maintain it, then this is just a time to take a step back and see if this is the right time for you to transition. Another good thing is maybe gifting a financial planner session as a gift. a birthday gift. Even I know some families did it for Christmas, for their college graduates, that, hey, I gift you a session to sit down with a real life financial planner. And because a financial planner will literally talk you from where you are now to retirement, literally giving them that opportunity to have a open space where they're on their own to really make big decisions, to say, okay, this is what I really want to do. Maybe they don't know how much it costs, but a financial planner will literally tell them, okay, it's going to cost you this, this, and that. And think about inflation. Okay, think about da 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 da. It will give them that full scenario, and oftentimes be able to even print something out that they can take tangibly home and look at it and say, okay, these numbers are real. So
I had no idea that you could give a financial appointment as a gift. And
yeah,
what a great gift, because it's the gift that keeps on giving. Because, I mean, I don't think that anybody needs another sweater or another
exactly.
pair of shoes. This would be a gift of a lifetime, basically.
Yes, yes, it is something that, I mean, you can look online, you can look in your local area, type in your local area, and check the reviews for the financial planners. And then all you're literally doing is reaching out and saying, hey, I want to gift my son a session. Of course, get the pricing, schedule the session. And I would even suggest letting them go on their own, because that gives them the leisure and an environment where they're able to just be open and honest and say, this is what I want to do. And let that financial planner coach them along that line. And now they can't say, well, mom, you're always telling me this. No, someone outside of mom told you that it's not easy to do it on your own. But they also not only just get, okay, this is hard, they also get a strategy, so that they know how they can begin to do it on their own.
Well, Crystal, you have given us amazing advice for the littles, the young adults, and what adults do when they feel like they're underwater and need to start over. I'm going to throw a hard one at you. Are you ready?
No.
No.
You
Brace yourself.
get-
Here's the hard question. What happens when you have a husband and wife and they view money differently? When they view money, like one says, "Oh my gosh, money is scary and overwhelming. I don't want to deal with it." And it's, they're like, if I just don't pay attention to it, it'll go away. But then you have a spouse that's like, no, 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 no. We can manage this. We can conquer this. We can do this. Um, how do you help educate in that situation? Because I'm assuming that not only are you a financial planner and an educator, but you're also a little bit of a marriage counselor. So how do you help in that scenario? Because I don't think that that's all that unique either.
Girl, let me tell you. So, one, I experienced it in my own marriage. I came into the marriage with like, okay, we have to have budget sheets, we have to balance to the penny and all of that. Whereas my husband was a little bit more lenient, and he likes to, shop a little bit. And so, and it wasn't like, oh, let me go shop for this. It was like, you know, oh, let me get this for the house. Oh, we need this. And it's like, no, we don't. So I've experienced that personally. And I've also had to deal with clients, that are not on the same page. And one of the biggest things and I know this sounds so cliche, but the first thing is always communication. And not just communication, but having those hard topics, those hard conversations where you really get down to the root of it. So for me and my husband, we actually every and we just released a reel on it on Instagram about it, and it's gotten a lot of talk about, because every quarter we have what's called a household prep meeting, and that's where we sit down, we talk about all the issues, including finances. And with us dealing with finances, we break it down. Why are we not, this? Why do we not have this amount in our in this bucket? Why did we overspend for this? So I think the biggest thing is, one, communication. Another one is grace and patience. And I learned this the hard way, is that everybody don't know the same thing. Everybody didn't grow up the same way. And so in marriage, you recognize that, okay, you learned that through your mom and your dad. You learned that through your upbringing. And I learned this through my upbringing. And now we're both of our upbringings are clashing. And so you have to have a level of grace to realize. And I struggled with that in the beginning because I was like, no, we need to, no, let's figure this thing
We're doing it my way. We're doing it my way.
out. And I realized that can be so intimidating and it can be so wrong, because I didn't leave that level of grace. I didn't leave that level of patience. And money, again, is such a sticky topic. If you look at the divorce rates, a lot of it goes back to finances. And so that's one of the major reasons for divorce, because people struggle with money. They struggle with talking about it. They struggle with, and so communication, definitely having those meetings outside of the household where you're really delving into the issues, and then grace for that person that is very good at money, or they're like the one that handles the money in the household. Grace when it comes to that other person that may be still learning some of the things. And then another thing is when you are sitting down, show that other person what those things that they're doing could cause issues. So if there was an overspending this month, show them what else lacked because of the overspending. You know what I mean? And so that could mean like, okay, well, you went out and you bought this without us talking about it. And now because of this, we're not able to do this. We can't go on this trip like we said we would. Show them the impact of what those decisions they make cause the household. So those are a couple things, and it could be so tough with dealing with couples. But I know the first thing always goes back to communication and having grace with each other.
Crystal, I have learned so much from you today. Even in the brief 30 minutes that we've been talking, I wish that we could talk for hours. But if people want to reach you, I know that you are licensed in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So how do they reach you if, number one, they want help in becoming financially fit?
Okay. You can reach me on, you can reach me through email. You can reach me on Instagram. My Instagram is at I am Crystal McLean. You can reach me via email at hello at authorcrystalmclean.com. You can go to my website at www.authorcrystalmclean.com. You can go to my Facebook page, Author Crystal McLean. I mean, I'm everywhere. I'm on every platform typically, and you can reach out to me. If I can't meet with you to discuss your financial plan, I definitely have some amazing contacts that I can vouch for that would love to sit down and go over your financial plan and goals with you.
Crystal, thank you for that, because we have listeners all over the country and all over the world for that matter. And for those that you can't help in your particular area, we are grateful that you can direct us to people that can. If we want to read about Harmoney and the empty piggy bank, where can we get to Harmoney?
You could actually get it on all retail book platforms. You can get it on Amazon Kindle. You could get it at Walmart, Books a Million. All of those, you have the ability to grab that amazing book.
Yeah, I actually think I'm going to grab it myself just because it seems like such a great book that breaks down these really complicated and intimidating concepts and breaks them down into little bite-sized pieces. And I don't think it's ever too late to learn something new. And
Definitely not.
and thank you for writing that and making it easy for us to digest those concepts. I'm not going to let you run away quite yet because I have some questions to ask you that I'm asking everybody. So, are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Okay. 2021. It's here. Ready or not, it's here. So, in 2021, what are you working on?
Oh, great question. I am working on Harmony's second book, a part two, the second book in the series, which will actually deal with bank banking relationship and learning the bank side. I realized there are a lot of kids, adults that don't know how to even fill out a deposit ticket or a check, write a check. So those are some things that are going to be interactive in the second book. I am also working on self-published author coaching. I realized when I started out as a self-published indie author, I didn't really have a lot of strategies around marketing my book, but I learned the hard way, and that's why my book has been so successful. So I want to help other indie self-published authors do the same. So helping them create marketing strategies and content creation. I am working on workshops for Harmony and the Empty Piggy Bank. I have one set up with the Boys and Girls Club, so I'm super excited about that. I have one set with the local library, so super excited to talk to the kiddos there. I have so much that I'm working on, but those are the major things that come top of mind.
You got a lot going on. A lot going on. And I love your energy. You can hear how excited you are about this mission. You can hear it through the headphones, and it's amazing. Um, I have become a huge advocate of asking for what you need because we don't do a great job of that at all. Especially us as women, we don't communicate what we need. So I am giving you a platform. In 2021, Crystal, what do you need?
Wow. Okay. Now that was a tough one. Oh, wait. So, I think one of the biggest things I'm realizing I need is, you know what, Audrey? Wow. Like, pause. Wow.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, because I don't ask for what I need. I always, you have that superwoman syndrome, where you just feel like you can do everything. I think one of the biggest things I need is is teaching and learning around the art of delegation. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so that is one of the things I struggle with because again, I take on that syndrome, but I also recognize that I'm starting multiple things. And with me starting these things, I need assistance and I don't know how to get that. I don't know how to ask for that. And then I don't know how to delegate that. So how to effectively communicate and delegate to, this group of people, hey, this is what I need done. I think that's one of the biggest things I need is learning that. So if there's anybody out there that specializes in that, I am all ears.
And if you reach out to her, reach out to me too, because I need to know that too. And I'm sure that there are many, many, many women that are listening to this right now are thinking, me, 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 me. So let's all collectively surround each other and let's figure it out. Let's ask each other what we need, and let's break our way from the Wonder Woman syndrome, because we're not Wonder Women.
At all. I
So
love that question.
yeah, I got another one for you. Are you ready?
No.
I know 2021. You know what? 2020 has warmed me up. I am getting prepared to tackle 2021 straight on.
Yes.
Um so in 2021, what are you going to give away?
Mm. Whew. Okay, what am I gonna give away? I You know what, Audra, I can't even make it seem like that. Um, I can't say like not a big deal, but that is a part of me. I give away me on a regular, and when I say that, what I mean is that I give away, the knowledge. I realize one of the biggest issues that a lot of women face is that. Oh, well, I don't want to tell because I don't want them to steal my idea, or I don't want to do this because I don't want them to. No, like I have always been the one, and I feel like I struggle with this, that I give way too much of myself to the point where my husband's like, okay, now wait, you got like stop. And so I think learning one how to strategically give myself away as far as my knowledge and my skill, but I want to give knowledge to children. Like that is it. Like I want to give something that, and you said this before, the gift that keeps on giving. I want to give them things that are intangible, but will always stay with them. Something that they can years later, I may be gone, that they're saying, I'm still eating off of the fruit of what was given to me many years ago. Generational knowledge, generational tools, generational resources. That's what I really want to continue to give. And I want better strategies on how I can make sure I'm able to impact more than just my current sphere, but even more broad.
Well, hopefully we can help with that because I really love your mission. I think that it is not only incredible cause, but it is generational changing. It's community changing, and I think that it's an amazing mission to stand upon. Um, and one last question. I don't think it's nearly as hard as the first three. So, uh, I've been asking this a lot, and it's become an audience favorite. So I'm going to keep asking this question uh, because I have a lot of readers out there in my audience. Thank you for all you fellow book nerds. I appreciate you. So I'm going to ask you this: what book have you read that you think everybody should read?
Ooh, okay. Oh gosh. Okay, I read so many this year. Okay, okay. Well, let me think. Let me think. Oh. Oh, okay, okay. So um, this one is a really good one. I definitely want to make sure I mention it because it is, we're talking about finances and everything, but Millionaire Mindset. And I'm not sure if anyone has read it before, but it really breaks down. And it's not like a just get rich. No, it's definitely not that. But excuse me, it's the Millionaire Mind. Excuse me, the
Millionaire Mind.
Millionaire Thomas J. Stanley. And it's an older book, but I tell you what, it is a book that really takes the time to deal with, and it interviewed different millionaires on what do they do on a regular basis, how do they spend their time versus someone else, and you can literally take what they do and match it up to what you do and see if there's any gaps there, to begin to start to change your mind about how do I handle money, how do I handle wealth, because honestly, Audra, it is all about your mind. It's all about your mindset. You can win the lottery, and you see the shows about it. You can win the lottery and tomorrow be broke because your mind was not changed or transformed. So it's not about the amount of money, it's about how you handle the money that you have. And that book talks about the mind behind the money. So I think it's an amazing book, and I typically try to read that at least once a year.
I've written that down because that's going to my growing list. Um, I'm going to wait one more thing
Hmm.
before you run.
Yeah.
One final statement to leave the audience with.
Ooh. Okay. My final statement is, I know that 2020 was a rough year for a lot of people. And we don't take that lightly because we recognize that we were all in it together. But as we're embarking on a new year, we have a new, fresh opportunity to take this world by storm. What will you do with it? How will you impact those around you? How will you take the gifts, the knowledge, the skills, everything that you've learned and that you've earned up until this point? How will you be able to take that and impact the world around you? It is up to you to do that. What will you do with it?
That's awesome. That is amazing. Um, Crystal, like I said, I could talk to you all day long, and I am so happy that we were able to get you on the show. So thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom and your education with the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and for the platform. This is such an amazing platform, and I salute all women that are in the arena.
And thank you for becoming part of this community. I'm really, really proud of our growing community, and thank you for becoming a part of it. I so appreciate you.
Thank you, Audra.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next time. And that's a wrap. Thank you all so much for being here. I can never give you enough gratitude because without all of you, none of this is possible. I am still always in awe that my guests are volunteering to be so bold in their vulnerability. So thank you for continuing to do that. And to my audience isn't the right word to describe you. So to you, I thank you. You are a community. So thank you for being a part of this community, and thank you for helping to nurture it and make it grow. And of course, you know I have this incredible team behind me that helps me produce this every single week. For Savannah, Alan, Jessica, Tina, Tisha, and my son Gavin, thank you so much for believing in me, believing in my mission, and continuing to help grow the Women in the Arena podcast. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you next week.
This is just the beginning.
That's our show. I am so grateful for each and every one of you and your unwavering support and your continued belief in this movement that has become much bigger than me, much bigger than just a podcast. It has become this forward momentum that we are all doing together. If you are ready, or you know somebody that is ready to tell your story and share your value with the world, please connect with me. You can reach me at audra@womeninthearena.net. I am so honored and thankful that you will share your story with me, and I'll make sure that it is well taken care of. I will never stop thanking each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to talk to you again next week as we share another woman's story and we celebrate her doing extraordinary things in plain sight. We'll see you next time.